When Miles Morales first swung onto the big screen in 2018 in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, audiences were shown the real potential of animation in creating explosive and wildly entertaining cinema that enhances beloved comic book characters while still honoring their origins. The team behind that Oscar-winning film are finally back with the sequel, and it was very much worth the wait. Before I get further into it, please consider liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and switching on notifications, as it really helps us out. Let me immediately say this film is fantastic. It delivers more of what everybody loved in the first film with exciting animation styles, influences, references, creative camera work, witty dialogue, and a solid multiverse experience. I absolutely loved it, and I'll explain why as I go along, but I want to delve into what makes this film sort of awkward within the series. This is the second film I have recently watched that doesn't really end. It is not a complete story by itself, just like Fast X. Instead, it does all of the necessary setup for the next film, Beyond the Spider-Verse, that should be coming next year. Now, this is not a new concept. Most superhero trilogies, like Tobey Maguire's Spidey films, spend the first film going through the necessary canon to introduce their character. Except this is not the first film in the series, nor is it a complete film as I would say Spider-Man is, with one enemy being introduced and defeated within the film. Into the Spider-Verse paved the way, and Beyond will hopefully deliver an explosive finale. But Across does very much what its name would suggest, help us get from one film to the other. They clearly had a lot of options on how to do this. Frankly, I think they could have introduced an enemy and defeated them within this film and ended up in the same place. Spot could have been saved for the next film, but then perhaps his zero to anti-hero journey might have felt less convincing. It seems the creators took this opportunity to reintroduce Gwen less as a love interest and more as a fully fledged Spider-Person of her own. It's her narrative that gives the story shape, and her character arc that gets some sort of resolution by the end, in terms of her relationship with her dad. It works really well and still gives Miles enough screen time to remain the main character of the trilogy. And what's so wonderful about these films is that every frame gives an opportunity to surprise the audience with the animation style, which broke ground with the first film and continues to impress in this one. It's often difficult to justify unnatural lighting and color grading in live-action films, but animation doesn't suffer from this expectation of reality, and this makes room for some incredible visual storytelling. A simple example that really stuck with me is when Gwen is talking with her dad in her super moody dark blue bedroom, and then when they hug, pink is introduced, emanating from their embrace, creating an absolutely beautiful visualization of love. The soundtrack was also brilliant, just like in the first film, with this thrilling cinematic score enhanced by hip-hop and rap music that really matches Miles' character and makes the whole experience memorable and fun. Furthermore, the writing is good, which may seem like an underwhelming adjective, but considering the middle child and sequel position of this film, good means it did great. The dialogue felt natural, especially between the parents and children, with disparities in slang and even Spanish interwoven throughout. Of course, there's some leeway with non-naturalistic characters like the cowboy Spidey, where the dialogue was purposefully stereotypical to match the reference. And there are a lot of references to unpack, many of which I am sure were lost on me. Truly, they have created a smorgasbord of Spideys with an astounding amount of creativity on show. I particularly enjoyed how they used the infamous Spider-Man pointing beam, which though may have been a little bit cheesy, within the ridiculous context of having thousands of Spideys, I found it hilarious. That and of course, Spider-Cat. I also really enjoyed the new side characters, especially Pavitr Prabhakar, otherwise known as Spider-Man India, with his unique swinging style that incorporates a yo-yo. and Hobie Brown, otherwise known as Spider-Punk, with his instantly recognizable punk rock style and thick British accent, featuring some fun slang. I noticed another new character, Jessica Drew, has been the subject of much debate on the internet because she is white in the comic books and black in the movie. Recently, there has been a lot of controversy on race swapping, especially surrounding the Netflix series Queen Cleopatra, which labels itself as a documentary, yet it incorrectly portrays the prominent historical figure of its name as black, when her Macedonian Greek heritage is a well-documented matter of verified historical record. The anger is understandable considering its genre's purpose, but I also understand why people get angry over race swapping in historical fiction like Anne Boleyn. Even if it is a work of fiction explicitly drawing upon real historical figures and changing details of their life can skew an audience member's perception of the real history. Filmmakers often shorten timelines and shuffle events in order to create better drama. Sure, but changing the fundamental historical facts in order to do so puts into question the reliability of any film prefaced with the phrase based on a true story. For example, the trial of the Chicago 7, which I've reviewed before. Though if we look at the theatre industry and adaptations of Shakespeare's work, for example, there is often colourblind casting, which never feels as controversial as it does in the film industry, and allows the same play to be reinterpreted and enjoyed from a different perspective. It feels like a similar approach is taken with comic book adaptations on the big screen. The character of Jessica Drew in Across the Spider-Verse is a depiction, not the only depiction of this character. There's room to reimagine her properly, and the filmmakers seem to have done this by combining two characters from the comic books, Jessica Drew and Valerie the Librarian, a black character who was technically the first Spider-Woman to exist, appearing in Spidey Super Stories number 11 in 1975. She finds Spider-Man's suit and adjusts it so that she can climb walls and shoot webs, and then helps him defeat the Vulture. This perfectly links to the fight that happens in Across the Spider-Verse between the medieval Vulture, Gwen, Miguel, and Jessica. So why not just call her Valerie? Well, we learn that she's pregnant, and this is a storyline that features in Jessica Drew's comics. Do you think merging these characters was a good idea, or should they have just let them be two separate characters, especially considering they already had so many different Spider people on show? I personally question whether she needed to be pregnant when we already have such a strong mother figure with Miles' mother. On the other hand, there's no real reason why she can't be pregnant, but I just feel like the parenting theme was overly covered, especially having Peter with a daughter as well. In any case, when dealing with the multiverse, really anything goes, and I'm happy to say that from what I could tell, the multiverse within these films does not break its own rules, something which repeatedly happens in Marvel's other depictions, notably in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. I explored that film's problems in my review of it and also analysed the multiverse in general in another video comparing it to Everything Everywhere All at Once. Check those out if you're interested, otherwise the Spider-Verse in this film made sense to me, the canon and anomalies were well explained while still allowing some freedom and unpredictability. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with it in the next film, which we thankfully don't have to wait as long for as we did for this one. Overall, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is a well-constructed sequel that serves its purpose within the trilogy and still provides heaps of entertainment in that signature amalgamated animation style. Thank you for watching. Please like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe and switch on notifications so you don't miss future videos, and comment below with your thoughts on the film. For more film content, feel free to follow us on Twitter, Letterboxd and TikTok, links in the description. Otherwise, this has been Tea Break Film Reviews, my name's Michelle, and I hope you have a great day.